Right folks, so as I'm making a cup of tea in the bivvy, I'm back here in the shed now and I'm going to show you how I make one of my pikes. I have to go back to the fucking thing now and get one of the Hello. Well, that means I'm only after switching myself over to myself, so that means I must be in the bivvy now putting this video together, lying back in the bed chair, snuggled up, waiting for them Delcom alarms to rip off to hope to get our first pike off our Let's Go pike fishing season. So hopefully it has already done it by now, and if it hasn't, it will happen. The lake that I'm showing you now on this video is a big double thumbs up, and it's going to keep that area. I hope I haven't let it go. We should keep this little lake a bit of a secret because we don't want the okie dokies to find it and ruin that one as well. So what I'm going to show you is how I make my pike traces. My daughter Amy and her boyfriend said you should show us how you make how I make my pike traces. Well, I learned how to make my pike traces a long time ago from a young man called Darren Small from Galway, many moons ago. But what I did is I watched what he showed me how to make pike traces. Didn't have a clue. My old lad used to show me how to make them one time, and you swear we were catching jaws, to be honest, yeah. So when I started to go fishing with Darren Small, he showed me how to make pike traces, and I watched how he made his pike traces, and I actually added on how I can make pike traces to suit my fishing. Every pike angler out there has their own ways of how to catch pike, and I know if you go into Angler's World or you go into any fishing shop, it costs you a fortune to buy pike traces, up to about €6 or €7. Where I'm going to show you now, I'm just going to try and bend it down a small bit. I'm going to show you some of the equipment that you can save yourself an awful lot of bother in making your own pike trace. So first of all, you're going to need, when you're making your pike trace, you see it there, look at that, it's a clamp, and we're going to show you what that does in a few minutes. I used to never use any of these equipments before until Darren Small showed me how to do it. I used to use Northern pliers and squeeze it, but to better safety, I'm sorry, get yourself a clamp for about €6 or €7 in Angler's World. See you there? We'll show you how to use that in a minute. That's number one. Number two then is a little Schnips. I use that as the Ridge Monkey. It's a Ridge Monkey. I had that one for years, and look at this, it glows in the dark. So if you lose that, you definitely find it in the dark. So I use that all the time. Ridge Monkey Schnips. So the first of all you need when you're making your own pike traces, I highly recommend having a go at it, because when you catch a pike, Darren Small used to always say this to me, when you catch a pike after making your own pike trace, you feel good about yourself. You say, you know what, I made that pike trace, and I'm only after catching that big pike. Double thumbs up. So I haven't seen him for years, but them words will always stay with me when he used to say, when you make your own pike trace and when you catch with your own makings, it gives you a better confidence in yourself, doesn't it? It does, of course it does. So say if you're going into the tackle shops, if you can make it, it makes you more exciting if you can make your own traces and you make your own rigs. A lot of people couldn't be bothered, some people can, but I'm going to show you how I make mine. Every different strokes for different folks. First of all, you need to get a good strong piece of wire to make your wire traces. So I go into Angler's World, and the first thing I ask is for the Berkeley wire, and it's nylon coated wire. It's PVC coated, right? It's black, okay? It's £30. There's 30 foot in a roll, and it's about €4. So I'm just going to show you there now. Can you see it? Look at that there, Berkeley wire, and I've used this for years. Used the same stuff for years, never let me down. And it's called the Berkeley nylon coated wire, and it's £30 and it's 30 foot in a roll. Can you see that there? That's the first thing that you're going to need to make a wire. See that there? Okay, that's one. Number two is you're going to need a good swivel on top of your rig, and again I stick to the Berkeley again, and you can see it there, size 5. You can see there, we're ramping into it. Can you see that there, guys at home? I hope you can. So it's the Berkeley size 5, £80 strain in it, and there's 6 in a packet for £1.49, €1.49. So there's the swivels. So you're going to need one of them. Next of all, you're going to need, there's so many different ones of the crimps you can get. You can get the Berkeley ones as well. I don't recommend the Berkeley ones, to be honest with you. They're not, I just don't like them, to be honest with you, because when you squeeze them, there's a chance they could break in you, and I don't feel confident in using the Berkeley crimps. So what I've done is I got these ones. They're called the Last Meter, and they're 1.2 mm's, and there's 100 in a packet for €3.50. It might be a bit dearer in the Berkeley. Berkeley ones are only about, I think I have a packet here somewhere if I can find them. Show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean actually. I've actually loads of them. I can actually sell loads of them to Engelsworth for. Let's see, can I get one? I've got them back in the pack. So here we are. They come in a pack like this, the crimps, and it gives you the size 45, size 1.5 as well. Exactly the same one. You can see them there. And I forget how many's in the pack. 15, I think. There's 15 in the minute. No, sorry, there's 24 and you get one free. So there's 24 in a pack, you get one free, and they're 1.5. See them? Yeah, and they're cheap. They're way cheaper. But the only thing about I don't recommend them because they're not guaranteed they're going to last. So what I usually go is I go over to these guys here, the Last Meter. These are good. These crimps are spot on. They're nice and strong, and they last. They're a great job. Second of all, then I go over into the Corda. You can see the Corda, and these are sleeves. You can see where I add them on into the rig in a few minutes. It just dresses up the rig when you're making it. One sleeve for the top and one sleeve for the bottom. You'll see in a couple of minutes when I start making it. These are in Engelsworth as well, and they're €4 a pack. You can see them there. You can get them different colours. You can get them green. You can get them black. It doesn't really matter. Pike don't care. And the most of all then is your hooks. So I go to there's so many different hooks you can get it. I always try and go for the barbless, or try and get one with one barbless. So I go for the carbon trebles, and there's a few left here in this box here, and I'll show you them here. I don't know how much these are. They're probably about €4 or €5. I have loads of different types, but there's three. All I need is 2 to make a pike rig. Some people use 3. I only use 2. So there you go. So they're called carbon trebles. Super carbon trebles. See them there? And yeah, so they're okay. They're not too bad. They haven't let me down yet, I know. What size is it? I think they're size 5s. Sorry, size 4s. I've loads of other ones there. Size 4s. There's 10 in the pack. You can see there's another pack of them there, and they're actually €7 a pack. So there's super carbon trebles, greys, size 4, semi-barrel, 10 in the pack. So there's the semi-barrel. There you go. So there's the full pack there. Right. So that's it. Oh, I forgot about the pop-ups. Most of all is pop-ups. You can get these polyball, polystyrene balls. You can get them in black, or you can get them in red. I prefer the black, to be honest with you. I just think the black just dress them. There is the red. Some people like the red as well, just to attract the pike. So yeah, so I have these for a long time, and they're £4.50 each. You can see them there, €4.50 each. I prefer the black, and there's the red ones. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to probably pause a minute and probably take out the rigs that I've already done and take one black one off to show you. I prefer the black ones than the red. Some people like the red to attract the pike. Maybe yeah, we might just do the red for this one. Right. So yeah, so join me a minute when I have everything all pulled out and ready to go. So we're ready to make the wire trace now. So as I said, the first thing you need to do is get your Berkeley wire. Now, before I make this wire trace, different strokes for different folks. I'm only showing you guys how I make my pike trace to save you a few pound going to the shop. And I know my daughter Amy and her boyfriend do a lot of fishing. They do a lot of pike fishing, and they always ask me the question, how do you make your pike trace? You never show it on the videos. No, I don't, to be honest yet. So I don't think people are really interested in it. So I'm really doing this for Amy and her boyfriend, who are actually really genuine, want to know how I make it. So the first thing, you get the Berkeley wire, and you pull out at the back of it, roughly about 1.5 feet. Okay, so let's do that. So then what we'll do then is we'll cut it with the snips. So roughly about 1.5 feet. There you go. So roughly about 1.5 feet wire. You can see that there. Roughly about 1.5 feet of wire. So the next thing you do is you go and get your crimp, the one that I told you, the last meter crimp. So there's your crimp. And what I ask you to do then is get your wire and slide the crimp onto it, just like so. Like that, you can see it. You can see it sliding up and down. Lovely, like that. And then the next job is to get your barbless, one barbless hooked, triple hook, size 4. And if you can understand what I'm trying to say to you, you can see there's, if I can try and show it to you there, you can see there's one barbed in it, and the rest of them are all barbless. You can see them there? And the reason why that is so you hook the barbless one into your dead bait. So the first thing next thing you need to do is just slide that along your wire like that. Can you see that, guys? Just slide it like that, and then get the end of your wire, see it here, and slide it into the crimp and pull it back. Okay, so we're going to do that now. So we're going to slide it back until it comes like that. See, you can barely see it. See the wire that comes out through it? So just give it a nice little pull. So what we do is we get our little snips and we'll pull it back. You're going to pull the wire just back and pull the crimp roughly till it's nearly touching the top of the hook. And you can see it there. See that? What I'm trying to say? So enough to give you a little a wafter. So when you have enough room to play like that. See, there's your crimp. You see it there? And don't put it right tight to it. Just so enough you can do a bit of play like that. See that? Okay, so that's good. Very happy with that. So the next thing you need to do then is bring in is your clamper, right? So we're going to clamp it. And by clamping it is we just slide the crimp in the groove. Okay. And what you do is you just give it one little squeeze. Not too hard, nice and easy, like that. And what it does is it presses the crimp in tighter. And what I usually do is, you see people have been squeezing forever. What I usually do is I just double check everything. Take your time. So I'm just going to take my time with this one. I can't even see it in the dark. So up again, and we slide it down there. So what we do is you give another little crimp, squeezing the crimp like that until you see the crimp has the ridges on both sides. So that's one side done. You can see how it has, I don't know if you can see it. It has the ridges on it. So see, can we get a bit of light in here to show you? We can get a bit of light to show you now. There. So, can you see the ridges on it now? See the ridges, little ridge marks on it? Right, so we need to do exactly the same thing to the other side of it. Okay, that's what we're going to do next. And so we're squeezing it to make sure that both sides of the crimp is done. So it's nearly done now. Just take your time doing it, nice and steady. Don't rush into it. And I'm just going to make sure that I have it done right as well. I always take my time. There you go. So there you go. If you look there very carefully now, you can see that both sides of it is well pressed in. You can see it there, look. I don't know how it's going to come out the camera, but you can see it there, the ridges are done, and you still have plenty play on it. So your next thing is to cut off the bit of wire that's left over. So that's where the Ridge Monkey one comes in. So I just nip it down roughly about there. You see it's a tiny bit left over. Oh, that's perfect. That's A1. Right, so the next thing, okay, so I tidy that up. So how do I tidy that up is, I get one of my Corda sleeves. You see the Corda sleeves here, and I feed the tube in it like that, and I just slide it all the way right down till you come to the end of the tubing, and slide it over the bit of work you're only after doing. So we slide it right down right? Just enough to give yourself enough of play as well. So look at that. No, doesn't that look a bit tidier now? You only have to do it. There you go. Now you can get all different colours. You can get black and get red or whatever. Look, the quarter one is plenty good. And you still have plenty of room to play with. So that's one treble on your hook. Right, so the next thing is, what I usually do then is I put on another crimp. See the crimp again? So what I do is I slide on the crimp. Remember this now. This is the most important part you need to remember now when making this. Why I do it. And I explain why I do it in a few minutes. So I get the crimp and I slide it onto the line again. I forget about it. I'll come back to that in a few minutes. And what I do then is I get another treble hook. You can see it there. And what I do is I put that on as well. Slide it down along the line. And I forget about it. Come back to it again in a few minutes. Right? So what I do then is I get another crimp straight away. Get another crimp and I slide another crimp onto my line. Tommy Cooper said just like that. See how I do it? Like just like that. And then I get one of my swivels. See one of the swivels? I don't know if you can see it there now. And then what I do is put the swivel onto the end of the line. Like that. You can see it? And what I usually do then is shove up the crimp. Exactly the same thing how you did to your hook down the bottom. Just slide the crimp right through. Just like that. Well, you'll get to it in a minute. And usually what I do then is if I have trouble, I just get the snips. I just help me just shove the wire through bit by bit until you see the wire coming out the other side. See it like that? And what I do is just snip it to help you to pull it through. And again, pull it up, but don't put it up too tight. Put it up so the swivel has something to play with. Just like that. You see it? Okay. But there's a problem now. Okay? I went way ahead of myself and I forgot to put on the other sleeve. So I'm going to pull it out again. Well, like actually what I can do is, because that's why you allow a foot and a half or a foot and a, so if you make mistakes, you can go back over your mistakes. So I'm just going to cut that off again. Explain why I've done that, because I forgot to dress up the hook. So when you have the hook on, remember how I did this? I forgot to leave the sleeve for the other one. So what I do is after that, just put on your sleeve like that. Okay, I slide that down there and forget about it. That's why you allow a bit more extra on your trace. So then you go back in again and you put on the swivel or the sleeve link again onto your line, like so. Back to that again and grab a swivel in the pack. And put it through the eye. Same thing again. And pull up the crimp. Slide your wire through the crimp if you can. Get the snips if you need it to help you to put it through. Sometimes they can be hard to put through, and sometimes they can be easy. Just have to be patient with them, and that's why you always allow an extra bit of the wire make them. So if you make any mistakes, you can snip off and do it again. So it can be hard to put the wire through sometimes, and if it is after, just change the link around again. It could be just the link. There might be a fault in the link. snips, back to you in 2 seconds. I actually think it could be the crimp that's making the problem here on this. So what I'm going to do is take out that again, snip the problem that we have, get rid of that crimp, change the crimp over. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes the crimp just in. Sometimes they say 1.5 and it's not 1.5. So again, I slided the crimp onto the line, put on my swivel overneath, and what I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to slide this wire into the crimp. I'm just trying to use the daylight from the window to use that in it. So I'm going to just use that because it is quite a bit dark. I just can't see it. Just give me a second, I use the light of the window. So it was the crimp actually. So what I'm going to do is just going to use the snips to give it a small little pull through. Now you can see the wire coming through there at the end. And what I do is just pull that up to give it an extra pull. Put it right up till you have enough play, as I said before. Don't give it too much wabbing. Enough so you can move it around. So I'm happy enough with that. So the next thing you do is again get your crimps again and line your crimps up in it, and just be careful how you make sure you line it up. You can see it there lined up, and just press it like that. Give it a good press like that until you see the nozzles come on, the lines come on the far side. Do the same thing on the other side. Press it again, just like that. Give it a good press until you see, as I says, that the markings coming on both sides of the crimp. You can see that there. That's perfect. Then what you do then is just come up and get the bit there and just cut it off, just like that. Right? Then you get your other bit of rubber that you had lined up here and slide that all the way up to dress up your bit of a dressing. Put it right up as far as you can put it, but enough to allow the swivel to move, just like that, both sides. So far we are lined up with a dead bait roughly about a foot long, not even a foot long. You can see just like that. So now you're going to say, well, what happens? So what I've done is I brought out one of the dead baits out from the freezer, and this is a pink, see there? That is a pink bream that you get in Dunnes Stores. So what I usually do then is I usually bring out one of the dead baits and I usually work it out what I need to do. So that was the first, the way the pike takes his bait, he takes it from the head first. He swallows it from the head. So usually what I do is I get the one with the barbless, and that usually goes in the top of the head. I'm just going to show you like this. May show you now, just like that. And then what I usually do then is I know then where the second one is going to go then, you see. I know where the second one is going to go. Right? So the second one is going to go about here. Roughly about here. Roughly about here. That's where I usually do it. Okay? So we're just going to stick the one barbless one in there, just to show you roughly what I'm doing here. Okay? Now, if you can see it, the top one's in the top, the middle one's in the middle, but you can see I still have one of the crimps left on the line. And one of the reasons why I've done that is it's to allow for my pop-up. Now, to allow for your pop-up, what I've usually done then is, this is where I get the polished iron ball, right? Then you're going to need another crimp. Yes, it seems an awful lot of work. So what I do is I pull out another bit of this line, okay, roughly about that. Cut it again. What I do then is I get one of the crimps again. I get the crimp, I slide it along the line again, like so. You can see there, slide it along the line. And then I get one of the polished iron balls. These are a pop-up Pyrostrat polished iron ball. I slide it through the hole. You can see there's a little hole there. So I slide that through the hole until it comes out the far side. Bong, see? Beep, boop, boop. So out the far side. And what I do is bring it around again, bring it around, pull out the crimp, and slide this wire back into the crimp, like we had problems there a few minutes ago. So let's do that now. Just going to use the light at the shed window. 1 second. It's hard to see it. Actually, it's very hard to see it. So I'm just going to just cut a small bit. Just it may help me, may not. Sometimes putting the crimp back into the wire can be very hard. Sometimes it can be very easy, but it's the light. It's pulling against me now. And again, I think the crimp is the problem again. So what we do then is pull it out again. Sometimes it does happen. Try another crimp. Sometimes the crimp, the inner barrel can be a bit, the diameter might be just too small. So let's see, are we right about that? So in goes the crimp again. In goes the polystyrene ball, out the far side like we showed you. Bring the wire right around. Shove the wire in through the barrel again. If we can see it. 1 second. Yeah, so was the crimp again. It does happen. What I usually do then, just to help me, I should put on your snips and just feed the wire through till it comes out the far side, like that. You can see there, I'm trying to feed it through the wire, and you can see it just sticking out the far side. And what I usually do is pull it from the far side, right? Now, what I usually do then is I judge it. So there you go. Just pull the crimp as tight as you can to that, like that. Okay. So I'm just trying to get it tight as I can to it. So I'm happy enough with that. So you can see there. Okay, and what I do then is I clamp that as well. Both sides until you see them marked. Pike anglers don't do this. I do it. Right. And again then just cut off the dead end like that. So you're left up the polystyrene ball with your PVC coated 30-pound line and your pop-up ball. Right. So then what I do then is I get my dead bait and I slide up the barrel. I usually put it in a way that I need to show you now what I'm trying to do here now. So what I do is, what I'm doing here is, I have my dead bait, and I have, you can see the crimp is down here. So what I do is, the polystyrene ball has to be roughly sitting at the top of his head, up about here, just to pop him up the bottom. So what I usually do then is get the polystyrene ball, out. And the smell of this fish is absolutely diabolical, by the way. I get the polystyrene ball, I'm trying to slide that up again. So what I'm going to do is going to take this off a second, off the fish, put him in there because he absolutely stinks rotten. So what I'm trying to do at the moment, I'm trying to put that line through the crimp on the pike trace. And just hope that we're not going to have a problem with that crimp. But anyway, we'll have a go at it and see. Seems to be going in, guys. I can't see it because I have no light. Just going to go over to the light a second. There you go, it's coming through. I can barely see it, but it's coming through. And when you get the wire through, eventually when you do it, only pull a small bit in through it. So just going to put it one more time. There you go. Just enough. So you can see the wire coming through. So just put it up a small tiny bit more, only about a half an inch. So you can work with it. You can see how I'm putting it through. Show you exactly what I'm doing in a second. Right. So there is your wire putting through for your pop-up. Now, what I usually do then is bring back the dead bit. To work, just to make sure it works alright. Stick one in the head. And I always put one roughly in around the middle. Where's the barb one? There you go. Where is the barb? There's the barb one. So I usually put one right in the middle, and then I bring the pop-up up to the top of his head, roughly about there. So I just want to show you what I'm trying to say to you now. So we're just going to turn this around so you can see it better. 1 second now. When you're trying to do these two things together, very hard. Right. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is, when you're trying to do it live, trying to show it to you. So right. So your pop-up sits at the top of his head, okay? And you try and make the wire trace as neat as you can as well, by the way. Okay, try and have nothing hang around, flopping around, okay? So the first one is spot on, okay? It has to go on the head. That's where the pike tacks it first. So you bring the wire down along the top. Your second treble usually hits him around into the middle. So we're going to roughly say around there. Okay, just roughly. Okay. Now you can see there's a big belly here in the wire. So you're going to have to pull the wire from the pop-up up to sort that out, or put it down to dress it. So what we're going to do now is, that's spot on. It has to be on top of his head, because that's where the pike takes the bait. So you can see it there when I dress it up better. So the pop-up will be at the top of the head, the first hook on top of his head, one in the middle, and then you pull this guy down here, put him down here, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, just to dress the dead bait up a bit tighter. So that's what I'm going to do now. So just going to pull the pop-up one down the line a bit better, just to dress the whole lot up a bit better. Alright, some bang out of that. Right, so the pop-up goes up in the top. And we just dress this up a small bit better. There you go. Up to the top. One in the middle. And bring the pop-up up to the top. And just like so. So we need to put the pop-up now more. There you go. So to just tie these everything up. So you just pull the pop-up like that, and you can see there's no belly in it, and that's why I use the elastic, to keep the elastic tight to it. And you have the pop-up at the top, so it's popping up off the bottom, and it's swinging like that in the water. You know what I mean? It's off the bottom, just right from the top. So remember, the pike always swallows from the top. You know what I mean? And that's why I use the elastic bait. So you have one up in the top of the head, and you have one down in the middle, and I have that's why I put the crimp down here to bring the pop up. Now if it's a bigger fish, you can adjust to suit, if you understand what I'm trying to say to you. You can make make your little device longer, your pop up. So that's how I do it. One at the top, one in the middle, and I pop it up and then on the bottom. So that's it. As it says, different strokes for different folks. We hope you enjoyed. I'm going to watch it back, and if I don't think the video is good enough, I'm going to redo it again. Anyway, let's get back to the fishing.